Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist and a student of natural law, and I'm discussing, reading, and evaluating this document called On Conflict and Consensus by C.T. Butler and Amy Rothstein that was created in the late 70s. It's been used by the Rainbow Gathering and by Food Not Bombs to make decisions in an egalitarian manner, which means that there is no dictatorship. Everyone is equal and sovereign, and it creates freedom. It creates a group of free individuals who can work together. They may not like each other, but they can work together. And so they have some kind of respect for one another's sovereignty, rather than what we are all used to, which is to create a mini dictatorship. And I think I'll just speak for myself. Like, I think it's perfectly normal for us to create a mini dictatorship, think we're right, and then our groups just dissolve. But that's what we've been taught in every area of our lives, from, school, parents, teachers, jobs, the government, every situation. Every situation these days, even in the freedom movement, if you go to a Red Pill Expo or something, there's always people at the front of the room, and we give those people authority because they seem to know something more than we do. When you go to any symposium of any kind, there's always a leader. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we've been mind controlled into believing that the person who's the leader has some kind of authority. And under natural law, there are no authorities. There's only natural law as the authority, or the creator as the authority, and we all are equal to one another. And we can, allow people with expertise to lead certain aspects of our learning, but because of how mind controlled we are into these dictatorships, we have to learn how to take ownership of our learning process and not give it over to another person, and just recognize that everyone has feet of clay. There is no ultimate leader human. We each have to have that within ourselves and rule our inner monarchy ourselves. And when we do that, then it's so much easier to let other people be themselves, even if they're displaying bad behavior. We can still practice live and let live with those people and let them figure out for themselves that they're practicing bad behavior without us wagging our finger at them or using virtue signaling, which is just another term for groupthink. And like, I just experienced this yesterday in our group, in our freedom group. Someone was behaving in a manner that others didn't like, and so we wanted to kick that person out. That's a dictatorship. Formal consensus teaches us how to respect each person's point of view, even if it's highly controversial. That person has something to add, and our environment that we've created as a group produces people like that. And so if we want something to be different in our group, we have to change in our group. Our group has to change its environment so that either that person will grow or they'll go. But we don't try to change the other person or punish them for their point of view. I'm going to jump ahead to page 27, and this is chapter 4. And because the end of chapter 3 might make more sense after reading some of the later chapters. The art of evaluation. Meetings can often be a time when some people experience feelings of frustration or confusion. There is always room for improvement in the structure of the process and/or in the dynamics of the group. Often there is no time to talk directly about group interaction during the meeting. Reserve time at the end of the meeting to allow some of these issues and feelings to be expressed. Now, I have a question. Do we each have the internal flexibility, and maybe as a result of meditation, to be able to handle feelings of frustration and confusion without creating a distraction, trying to get our attention drawn to ourselves? Can we actually go through feelings of frustration and confusion without having to solve the problem right away? This would be something to work on individually because it's part of the process. Evaluation is very useful when using consensus. It is worth the time. Evaluations need not take long. 5 to 10 minutes is often enough. It is not a discussion, nor is it an opportunity to comment on each other's statements. Do not reopen discussion on an agenda item. Evaluation is a special time to listen to each other and learn about each other. Think about how the group interacts and how to improve the process. Be sure to include the evaluation comments in the notes of the meeting. This is important for two reasons. Over time, if the same evaluation comments are made again and again, this is an indication that the issue behind the comments needs to be addressed. This can be accomplished by placing this issue on the agenda for the next meeting. Also, when looking back at notes from meetings long ago, evaluation comments can often reveal a great deal about what actually happened, beyond what decisions were made and reports given. They give a glimpse into complex interpersonal dynamics. So as I've said before, formal consensus is a spiritual process. The reason I say it's a spiritual process is because not only are we just trying to figure out how to survive the Great Reset or demolish the Great Reset, we're also learning how to work together, which is a foreign concept in this country at this time. We're all so competitive now as a result of all the things I listed earlier, plus our scam financial system, which is a total lie and breeds contempt and competition because of the interest scam that gets taken away by the globalists to line their pockets. That because we accepted that lie, we pay the price by having extreme competition and scarcity mindset. So this is a spiritual process, learning how to get along with each other, because it's the antithesis of how we've been living. 4.1. Purpose of evaluation. Evaluation provides a forum to address procedural flaws, inappropriate behavior, facilitation problems, logistical difficulties, overall tone, etc. Evaluation is not a time to reopen discussion, make decisions, or attempt to resolve problems, but rather to make statements, express feelings, highlight problems, and suggest solutions in a spirit of cooperation and trust. To help foster communication, it is better if each criticism is coupled with a specific suggestion for improvement. Also, always speak for oneself. Do not attempt to represent anyone else. Well, that's a huge paragraph. I mean, there's a lot required in this paragraph here. That the evaluation time would be a time when people would express their feelings about other people's behavior, how it affected them, etc., but without judgment of the other person. They would have to use something like nonviolent communication or ownership communication, where they would own their response to the other person or whatever it happened. Always speak for oneself. Do not attempt to represent anyone else. That's because Under natural law, you cannot represent anyone else. You can only present yourself. That's a huge concept right there. It basically means that democracy is a total lie because democracy is a representative government, and it isn't possible to represent anyone else. You can only present yourself. If you're a member of the group, you can present yourself as a member of the group. But only speak for yourself. You can't say like that guy over there was treating me like crap because blah, blah. Instead, I would have to say, I felt rejected, or I felt put on the spot by the feelings that I had when I interacted with this situation. I'd have to take ownership of my perception of the situation, not point the finger at other people and name call. Encourage everyone who participated in the meeting to take part in the evaluation. Make comments on what worked and what did not. Expect differing opinions. It is generally not useful to repeat others' comments. Evaluations prepare the group for better future meetings. When the process works well, or the group responds supportively in a difficult situation, or the facilitator does an especially good job, note it and appreciate work well done. See, right here, they're saying, expect differing opinions. For us at this point, differing opinions is conflict. It doesn't have to be conflict. We all have differing opinions. We all see things differently because we're all different. And so we all will have differing opinions. Even if we pretend that we don't, or we think we don't, eventually we find that we have differing opinions. Do not attempt to force evaluation. This will cause superficial or irrelevant comments. On the other hand, do not allow evaluations to run on. Be sure to take each comment seriously and make an attempt at a later time to resolve or implement them. Individuals who feel their suggestions are ignored or disrespected will lose trust and interest in the group. I think this is what has happened already, why so many groups have split or have gone to once a month or have gotten bored, because they feel that their suggestions were ignored or disrespected. Everyone has to feel like they're heard by everyone equally, since there are no rulers. For gatherings, conferences, conventions, or large meetings, the group might consider having short evaluations after each section, in addition to the one at the end of the event. Distinct aspects on which the group might focus include the process itself, a specific role, a particular technique, fears and feelings, group dynamics, etc. Let's say we did fears and feelings. We would have to listen to everyone's fears and feelings without trying to solve them for other people. And that would be probably difficult for us to do because, like I said in a previous video, I think unsolicited advice has become the new conversation. But it would be really cool if we could do that with each other, because the fears and feelings will get resolved by time, experience, people, just the process itself. We don't have to solve those things, but being heard will foster a supportive environment by which those fears and feelings can be resolved. By God, probably, is really what I should say. By the process, by the spirit, by natural law itself, just by being heard, it creates resolution. At large meetings, written evaluations provide a means for everyone to respond and record comments and suggestions which might otherwise be lost. Some people feel more comfortable writing their evaluations rather than saying them. Plan the questions well, stressing what was learned, what was valuable, and what could have been better and how. An evaluation committee allows an opportunity for the presenters, facilitators, and/or coordinators to get together after the meeting to review evaluation comments, consider suggestions for improvement, and possibly prepare an evaluation report. But this doesn't mean on email. None of this was done on the computer because it was done in the 70s when there wasn't any computer. It was all done, by handwritten comment, probably. So I would suggest that it not be done that way at this point, because we're too addicted to having a screen between us and the truth. And it's much, much better to be face-to-face in doing these kinds of exercises. Review and evaluation bring a sense of completion to the meeting. A good evaluation will pull the experience together, remind everyone of the group's unity of purpose, and provide an opportunity for closing comments. Well, I think that's the end of that one. So I'm going to end there because otherwise it's going to go on too long, and I'll do another video in a few days.